Hey, everybody, this is Catherine Williams, your local Santa Clarita Realtor, and I'm here today with Christina Apsay. And I've been keeping a little secret from you guys. I lead a double life because I also work as a financial planner along with Christina at the Titans Insurance and Financial Solutions Company, and we are located in Valencia. Hi, Christina. I'm so glad you were able to join us today.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So Christina is the estate planning expert at our office, and so I invited her to come and tell us a little bit more about estate plans. So Christina, I hear people talking about their estate planning. Could you explain more about what is an estate plan?
Basically, or a basic estate plan is it benefits both you and your loved ones in the event of your incapacity or upon your death. I like to call it kind of a life instructional manual.
Great. So what is included in the Titan estate plan?
Well, the estate plan, the most important documents within the Titan estate plan is your revocable living trust, your last will and testament, your durable power of attorney for finances, and your advanced healthcare directive. So those are the four main pieces of an estate plan through Titan.
Okay. And what is the difference between the last will and testament and the revocable living trust? You have to have both of those, right?
Normally, yes. To have them both, they kind of work together. A revocable living trust is exactly the way it sounds. It's revocable. That means you can change or you can revoke. And it's a living trust. So it's basically while you're living. The most important thing about a living trust is that it can own assets. So it protects you from probate. A last will and testament, however, doesn't have the ability to own assets, and it is upon your death. So those two are important to have together, but they serve two different purposes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you talked about the durable power of attorney. Can you explain what that is and why that's important to have?
Sure, absolutely. A durable power of attorney is, let's give you a scenario. So imagine you're in a car accident, and it was a pretty severe car accident, and it's left you in a state of incapacity. Mm-hmm. Now, you're still with us, you're just perhaps in a coma, or perhaps you're recovering in the hospital. Your bills still need to be paid, your life still needs to happen. And so what that does is the power of attorney allows the person that you've appointed as your agent to make those payments, if it is, or perhaps maybe pay an insurance bill, whatever the case might be. So anything financial, they are able to handle on your behalf in the case of your incapacity or when you're unable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you mentioned the advanced healthcare directive. Why do you need that?
Well, to be quite frank with you, Kathy, I personally think that the advanced healthcare directive within our estate plan is perhaps the most important document that is in an estate plan. And the reason I hold that in such a high esteem is because I don't know if you recall, back in 1995, there was a case by the name of Terry Schiavo. Terry Schiavo had severe cardiac arrest, and it left her in a comatose place in her life. So she was in a coma, and she was a young girl. She must have been about, I think, in her mid-20s. So she was real young. Her parents insisted that there's hope for her. Even though there was no brain activity, they wanted her to stay with them, which I can understand as a parent. But her husband insisted that he had a conversation with her that she did not want to live in such a vegetative state. Now, what happened is the next 10 years they were in court. For 10 years they fought and fought and fought. Now it went back and forth and back and forth. And in 2005, the court finally decided that that feeding tube would be disconnected. And unfortunately, Terry subsequently passed. Now, we don't want any court making that decision for us. We want our decisions to be made for us. So in other words, I want to have the last say. I don't want a court to have that say on whether I live or die. I want to make sure that I have the last word, whether it's the agent making that decision that I've put in place, or frankly, in my own words within that health directive. So I think that's probably one of the most important documents within the estate plan.
Yeah. Well, what happens when people don't have these things in place?
Well, if they don't have them in place, what happens is they will not, they leave it up to either the hospitals to make decisions for them or the courts to make decisions for them. And we don't want that, because we want the last say in our health, in our finances, and also in our legacy. Our legacy is very important, because if we don't have everything in place, our legacy will be diminished. So in other words, our heirs will have perhaps half of their legacy in terms of their inheritance. So we don't want to leave that to chance, or we don't want to leave that to have someone else making that decision. So I think that an estate plan is the most important thing you can possibly do for you and your loved ones.
Yeah. I think it's such a wonderful gift you give to your loved ones, to your heirs. You
Absolutely.
save them from so much aggravation and heartache. And so I think what you're doing, writing up estate plans, is wonderful. And
I absolutely adore it. And you have the same advocacy that I do, Kathy, and Titan that's where we're built. That's where our foundation is built, by helping families to make sure that everything is in place, not just their estate plan, but all of their finances. So they leave that legacy.
Yeah. Well, I sure appreciate your passion for helping families with their estate plan and with all of their financial needs. And it's been a pleasure having you on Park Bench today.
Thank you for having me, Kathy. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you have a great day, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy.